Today we begin a three-part series titled Broken, Legal Immigration in America. The goal is to take an in-depth look at how the antiquated process of bringing skilled labor into the country drives the labor shortage and inflation. These issues could mean lower growth in the future if we don't fix the problems. And senior economics reporter Steve Liesman has that story this morning.
For most Americans, the immigration debate focuses on the illegal side, how to secure the border from the millions of undocumented immigrants who enter the U.S. every year, and how they should be treated once they arrive. But America also has a massive legal immigration problem, one with far-reaching consequences for the economy. Experts say the antiquated system is broken, playing a big part in the nation's shortage of educated workers, especially in the vital medical and technology sectors. The broken system helps push up inflation and, experts say, plays a role in making illegal immigration worse.
We're talking about worrying about recessions. We're talking about inflation. I think we're going to have a bigger catastrophe if we don't get more workers into our society, and we do that by immigration.
A recent note from Goldman Sachs points to a fall-off in immigration and says the biggest gap between job openings and available workers in post-war history is one of the key reasons that inflation is soaring. An increase in foreign-born workers could help contain the rise in wages and prices. The consequences go further. In rural communities, the lack of foreign healthcare workers has driven up wait times and plays a role in hospital closures and even health outcomes. For the country, the crisis may be causing America to lose the contest for the best and the brightest around the world, a contest that could mean losing its technological edge. Immigration attorney Bo Cooper says among his clients, he's seen skilled immigrants leave.
That's a loss to our economy. The legal immigration system is meant to serve the U.S. national interest by allowing us to import intellectual talent to fill our skill needs.
So how bad is the legal immigration system? This year, 48,000 employers asked to bring in 484,000 skilled workers from abroad under just one visa program. That's the H-1B program for skilled employees. But they were granted just 85,000 approvals, or only one out of about every 6 applications. Normally, it's 1 out of every 2 or 3.
Our immigration system is designed for an era in American history that does not exist anymore. A lot of the programs that were designed were created back in the 90s. Our immigration system desperately needs to be updated to meet the needs of our nation today.
That's especially true in the wake of the pandemic, which saw an increase in retirees and others leaving the workforce. The result of the system? A shortfall of as many as 1.6 million legal immigrant workers in the nation. There are 10.7 million job openings and only about 6 million unemployed. So about a third of that gap, experts say, is the lack of foreign workers.
While foreign-born are only 12% of the population, they are roughly 40 to 50% of the STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, labor force. And so they contribute massively to this part of the economy. Staying at this level will definitely jeopardize that engine of growth for the U.S.
So in the next installment, we're going to see how the lack of foreign workers actually creates a life or death situation in rural areas because of a lack of healthcare workers, and how the broken system causes the U.S. to lose out in some cases to other nations in the competition for the best and the brightest around the world. Joe?
Steve, we've had people on both sides of the aisle that introduce legislation. It gets politicized. But is it true that most other countries don't do the chain immigration, where if you know someone or it's a family member, you get in? Do they do it based on meritocracy? And is there a way we could do that to get the skilled workers that we need?
That would be a big help. I've heard stories, Joe, about, for example, there was a very well-known tech company that didn't want to go on the record on this. They had a worker somewhere in the West. The wife had to go back, his wife had to go back to India to get a visa to stay in the United States. So what did they do? They moved both of them to Ireland. Yeah. So
it's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
Sometimes you want to do it. And then the other thing that's not that simple is
who's going to come if they're highly skilled if they can't
bring everybody else.
And they don't even sometimes bring them here, Joe. Sometimes they just say, you know what? Getting you in here, if you applied today, if you were an employer and you wanted to bring somebody in today, you would be lucky to get that person in October of 2023.
And we're talking legal immigration.
Legal.
And both sides conflate illegal with that.
That's the biggest problem, Joe.
But there are we could use a lot of people that want to come in that maybe aren't as skilled. We need these people as well. But then again, there might be language problems or
right. There is no way, Joe, if you are not a skilled worker, essentially to get in legally. So people say, a lot of experts we talked to said, if you were to create a process by which more skilled and unskilled workers could get in legally, you might seriously alleviate the problem at the border. That's the connection between the legal and the illegal immigration.
So we need to address
it's supply and demand.
We need to address both illegal and with a big omnibus bill, but neither side will give the other a win.
Well, you're sort of giving away part 3 of why we're looking at solutions. So what we're going to look at in part 3, Joe, is there is some low-hanging fruit. And we are going to get into this big, neither side will give each other a win, and they just, they can't get there.